They were the golden couple of the noughties, and it's now been reported that Jennifer Aniston made her then-husband, Brad Pitt, wait 9 months before sealing the deal. Now, Kelly, this is something that you decided on in your relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, well, at 21, I became Christian, and so as part of the Christian faith, it's you just don't sort of do sex before marriage, and so for me, I wanted to do my best to uphold that. So yeah, when I got married, that was when we consummated our marriage. When we consummated our marriage, it was after after we got wed. So it was something that was really important to me. I felt really special on that wedding night, and for me it was just something that was really a part of my faith and something that I felt proud of that I'd managed to achieve. I don't know whether for my children, it's not something I'm going to force upon them, because I don't think that actually works. For me, it was my personal decision that I thought long and hard about and prayed about, but it's part of my faith, and I felt like I couldn't just be a sayer, I needed to be a doer. So I couldn't just say I was a Christian, I had to be a Christian. So yeah, it was my personal decision, and I'm really glad that I stuck to it, and that I managed to make it through. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't always easy. But I can't make it seem like it is some easy thing. It's not an easy thing to do. No, especially if you're in a new relationship, and you've got all of those lovely feelings, all of that going on.
And Brenda, you've spoken before about, growing up with faith and growing up within the Pentecostal faith. How is it in terms of relationships and making love?
It was no joke. Don't use that word. I don't even know what that word means. When I was growing up, it was absolutely no joke. I was in church from the age of 4 until the age of 18. Basically, pretty much every day, my family ran the church, and they were part of that. So I started seeing a guy. My grandmother, she raised me saying, don't kiss a boy because you're going to pregnant. And that's what I thought. So I was like, I didn't kiss somebody, and I started dating this guy, and it was 6 months before I actually kissed him, let alone anything else. But I went to church, and they told me, bring him too. And me and my friend, there were 2 mates, so we were seeing 2 mates. So we brought them to church, and we sat down thinking the pastor was going to say, welcome, welcome. The pastor started asking us if we were having intimate relationships.
Wow.
I didn't even know about that at that age, of 18, 17. I didn't even know about that. And it was very embarrassing. And I think there was a lot of peer pressure in that, me growing up with people to, oh, well, I got off with this one, But, I kind of try and show my children, wait. When the time is right, and you'll know when the time is right, that's when it'll be.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I can imagine there aren't many boys, men listening, watching Judy, who would have similar conversations regarding waiting for the right one.
Yeah, and I think that society always pushes it to the ladies to wait, and I think with all of that connotation, and obviously with different aspects in people's lives, it makes women get to a stage where they're almost not comfortable and not realise that this exchange of intimacy is also supposed to be pleasurable for them. Like, I've done the celibacy thing, but I personally think when you're ready to take body, if everything is good, the energy is right, you've got that connection, then do what you're going to do. Make sure you're safe, make sure you're nice, and everything is right. That's what I personally think. It's the truth. I think we should be talking to our daughters.
But what about your daughter?
Yeah, being comfortable and knowing your body and know when it's right, because when we don't have these conversations, they end up being in a predicament where either they're too scared, like if you was young and going to church, to say it to you, or they're in a predicament where they're almost being forced. But because it's not made a big thing and the person saying, oh, don't be silly, man, come on, which is not right. So I think it's about knowing yourself, knowing your body, knowing what level of relationship you want, and being independent in your choice and keeping yourself safe.
And that's the important thing, isn't it? It's a choice. In the same way that men are given a choice in the way that they live their lives, it's the same choice that women ought to have when it comes to living their life. Whoever you may want relations with.
What about you, Charlene?
Well, in terms of the way that I look at it, I grew up in the church very similarly to, I think, all of us, really. So the way that my family sort of viewed dating, I mean, basically wasn't allowed to. You know, it wasn't something I was ever allowed to do.
Yeah.
So I think in learning about dating and relationships is something I had to do in secret, and also really get my head around properly as a grown-up, really. But I think one thing that I would definitely do with both my children, one's a boy, one's a girl, obviously, whoever they choose to be with, whatever their sexuality may well be, whatever they do, I just want them to make sure that they are happy, and it's a decision that they are making, as opposed to a decision that somebody else is trying to make on their behalf. That's all I want, and for them to be doing whatever it is they're doing safely, basically, because that's the key, isn't it? Do what you want to do, but also do it safely, right, GD?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it's definitely, you know, there's, you know, levels of intimacy that you can have without having, you know, the colouring and the exercise. But I think exactly what you were saying, Charlene, about having that confidence to know that, OK, I feel comfortable with this, or I don't feel comfortable with this, and having the conversation with, you know, both of your children, whether it's a boy or girl, or however they identify themselves, and that's where it starts from.
Absolutely. And in terms of the question regarding having relations before marriage, I've got 2 kids and I ain't got a ring on this finger.